Hi everybody, Creative Katie here. Welcome to my version of the Index Card a Day Create Daily series. Today I'm doing week 2 prompt, Balcony, which I got to Romeo and Juliet, then the theme, A Rose by Any Other Name, and then I'm doing roses. Techniques, I'm using the plastic wrap technique and I'm doing finger painted florals. I will put a link in the iCards in the top right hand corner to both of those technique videos, and you can check those out. Just click on the eye in the top right hand corner. So I'm starting with a gessoed page from my Happy Planner. This is a Happy Planner from last year. I gessoed it up and I am applying 2 colors of blue, a dark and a light, and 2 colors of green. I know I'm going to paint roses on here, and I'm just kind of making kind of an outdoor side. Now it's important that the bottom is gessoed. In order to do the plastic wrap technique, you need it to be gessoed because it will give you a different effect. If it's not gessoed, you need a coat of paint that, if I did this in dark blue and then put these colors on top, when I did the saran wrap or plastic wrap technique, the black would shine through or the dark blue would shine through wherever the plastic wrap kind of lay. And I'm working a little bit wet here. The paint is, I'm thinning it down. I'm spraying the paper. I've sprayed the paint with water as well. I like to use 2 colors because I like the interest. And then I'm blending again between the green and the blue to get even another shade or tone in here. So you can use any kind of plastic wrap. I usually typically use the dollar store one. This one's Glad. And I'm just bunching this up on the page. And that's going to give you those creases, those lines, the pattern to my background. Now I did set this aside and let it dry probably 10 minutes while I was using up leftover paint, and you can see the lovely patterning that you get, and where it bunched up you can see where it's kind of taken it back almost to that white gesso. So you can see. Now this stencil is chicken wire reverse. It's a Crafter's Workshop stencil, and I thought, that'll kind of be like a fence or a gate or arbor, some kind of structure on my garden. Now, my first inclination was to use modeling paste, but I'm trying to cut back a little bit on the modeling paste in my quote journal here because it just adds so much more bulk. So I'm not doing it as often as I would otherwise. And you can get visual texture by just stenciling too. I'm using gesso here, white gesso, because it was right handy and I couldn't get my hands on my white paint. Both work. And I'm just stenciling this on. My idea is that the roses are going to kind of grow up, against the backdrop of this. Again, I'm using a makeup sponge from the dollar store for this. I love this stencil. It is such a good basic. I'll put a link to it in the description box below, as well as any other products that I have used that I can find links to. I do get a commission when you shop through my Amazon links. It does not cost you more. I caution you, please check that you are getting the best price and that you also, aren't getting dinged for shipping. If the link that I've given to you, the price has gone up because that changes over time. If you have gone through my door and you buy the same product through a different link, I will still get that commission. If you buy other products, I will get that commission. This stencil is a Balzer Design Crafters Workshop stencil, and I believe it's called Love. I can't remember. But I'm stenciling. I want kind of the shape of leaves. Heartful Flower is what it's called. And so here's where you can, look at your stencils and just use certain parts of it. Maximize the use of those stencils. They are an absolutely wonderful resource. So I'm using the Fingerpaint floral technique, and I was going for coral. I wanted a coral rose, kind of yellow, orange, kind of going into the coral zone. And, I'm making kind of commas here. I will put in the iCards a link to my Fingerpaint floral. Well, you'll see me point by point show how I get these roses with different colors, as well as a couple other different kind of flowers that you can paint on using your fingers. Now, I wasn't really happy with the colors, although, I just had a trip to Bouchard Gardens, and there were roses that were pretty much this color. I do come in and add white to this, and it kind of tones it down and gives more of what I envisioned in my head. Because sometimes what's on the page is actually quite nice. It's the vision you have in your head that interferes with liking what we see. In the end, I'm very happy with the result. I'm just dabbing in the paint and putting it kind of a comma, different ones kind of wrap around. Very loosely abstract roses. You have to fight the urge to go in and touch this up again. And here I'm adding the white, and it's getting more of that peachy, corally pastel look that I wanted. So as you saw with this prompt, I mean, the prompt was balcony. Obviously, there's no balcony on this page. As I was getting ideas, and I'll put a link to that video as well, where I show how I unpack the prompts and how I use the prompts to inspire me. I mean, a literal interpretation would have been to put a balcony on here. But instead I went with where the image went for me. You might hear the prompt balcony and have a totally different image. We are both right. I was going to put the quote, "A rose by any other name," but I like the one. It kind of ties into my BU theme. Take time to smell the roses. It's important to pull the weeds and garden, but it's important to smell the roses and recharge. And to art. Here I'm using a woodless charcoal pencil, and again I'll put a link in the description box. I love these for shading. They are so quick and easy. This one is the soft, and I find you put it on, and if you just rub and smear it, it gives that nice soft shading effect. If I was sealing this, I would use a spray sealer instead of a brush on, because the charcoal will move a little bit if you were to paint it on. You'd have to be very careful. So there's the quote that I played around on Word and put on there. And there's a rose by any other name. And I thought, nah, you know what, I'm going to save that. So when I print out the sentiments, if I have a couple options, I don't know which one I'm going to use until I start creating, and depends on the space, and sometimes the font determines which is a better match. So I print off, 2 or 3 different versions or different quotes. And then what I don't use just goes in my stash to be used at another time. So I'm just edging this with kind of a mixture of the green and and the blue just to frame it. Trying out where I would like this to go. If you watch to the very end of the video, I am going to put links to videos that are somehow related to this, either that showcase the techniques or something similar that's used the same product, like the chicken wire reverse stencil. I like to put something that relates to the video on there because, if you're thinking, oh, I want that stencil, I want you to see other ways that you can use it so you can spend your crafting dollars wisely. And I'm using my fine line bottle to outline the quote and the page, and I'm going a little slower. And by doing that, more paint is going down and I'm getting a thicker line. Sometimes I want a very sketchy, quick line. This time I wanted a little bit more black to frame it. And then I'm just going around the outside. Now the charcoal pencil has done such a good, the woodless charcoal has done such a good job shading. You can't really see this so much. In real life, it's more noticeable. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying my index card a day videos. Get out there and create. Bye for now.